This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
The government shutdown rolls on.
Thanks to Democrats, Head Start programs are beginning to close.
I'm Clayton Neville.
Democrats hope to win big in the big races in today's off-year elections.
The candidate has to win the race.
I'm Rich Johnson.
Two men have now been charged in federal court with terrorism-related crimes after weeks of surveillance by the FBI. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
On Wall Street, stocks started November mixed, but software company Palantir reported strong results last night. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
A federal judge puts on hold temporarily the deployment of the National Guard in Portland. And correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's historic side trip while in South Korea. And Sandwich Man heads to court. All ahead on America in the Morning. The government shutdown enters its 35th day, which matches a record set during the first Trump administration. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
No sign of a deal as the government shutdown approaches its 35th day. President Trump now suggesting that Senate Republican leaders should remove the Senate filibuster, which would do away with the need for Democratic votes to reopen the government. This, though, as Democrats push for negotiations surrounding health care. Senate Majority Leader John Thune offered a vote on the Obamacare subsidies, but the Democrats said that they want Republican leaders at the table to negotiate first.
Thanks to Democrats, Head Start programs are beginning to close. Housing assistance programs are at risk. Seniors and people in rural areas can't access telehealth services. National Guard training is on hold.
Leader Thune is optimistic.
We start this week by asking, is this the week that Democrats end their shutdown?
He stressed how close Congress is to reopening the government, but also so far from that.
And it's just 5 Democrat votes away from being sent to the president, who would sign it literally in a matter of hours.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer spoke about one American in particular who he said, like many others, are struggling with unaffordable prices in health care.
She will go from paying $495 a month, already outrageous, to $2,100 a month, an increase more than 4 times. It's more than her mortgage. And that is Donald Trump's America.
As far as the impacts on the airports and in the skies, the FAA and TSA workers are going without checks. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
It changes day by day of what facilities are low staffed, which means we have significant delays or cancellations. You saw Newark yesterday was incredibly rough. Significant delays.
Food banks across America doing their part to organize food drives and drop-offs for those going without a paycheck during the shutdown. I'm Clayton Neville.
President Trump offered a last-minute endorsement for Democrat Andrew Cuomo for New York City mayor. And while this year is usually dismissed as the off-year election, a lot more eyes are on the races to be decided today, now 1 year after Donald Trump won his second term. Following the elections, correspondent Rich Johnson.
Despite whatever is new, history says this is a referendum on the incumbents and a snapshot of the mood of the country, which is bad timing for Republicans.
Having a shutdown, the economy wobbly, people not feeling better days are here to come doesn't bode well for the party in office, which is Republicans right now.
Rice University history professor Douglas Brinkley also tells ABC this will be a big test of President Trump's political power.
Does Donald Trump have enough momentum to pull off a win somewhere?
New Jersey may be the GOP's best chance, as the governor's race between Mikey Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli is too close to call. Sherrill got a big boost over the weekend thanks to former President Barack Obama.
This White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain craziness.
Ciattarelli says despite Obama backing Sherrill,
the candidate has to win the race. And that's why I get up and down the state every day and engage with people every day, shake hands every single day, and listen.
Obama also campaigned for the Democratic nominee in the race for governor of Virginia, former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. She played the trump card regarding her opponent, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears.
We do not need someone who has been in lockstep with this administration every step of the way.
The other race drawing a lot of national attention is the three-way fight to become the mayor of New York City. President Trump just endorsed the Democrat-turned-independent former Governor Andrew Cuomo, but Democratic nominee Rohan Mamdani has a double-digit lead over Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa. And in California, Governor Gavin Newsom's been campaigning hard. Not for a candidate, but for a change in the state constitution.
What this is all about is Democrats getting back on our toes, not our heels.
Proposition 50 would redraw California's congressional districts to favor Democrats. It's a direct response to Texas and other red states redrawing their boundaries to create more Republican districts. I'm Rich Johnson.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. It's the Sleep Number Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with cozy, soothing comfort. Save on mattress and base bundles, plus free premium delivery. Limited time, only at Sleep Number or sleepnumber.com. When we return on America in the Morning, FBI thwarts attack in Michigan. After these messages. America in the Morning continues with the nation's outlook. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
There are two systems moving into or across the United States today. The first is a quick-moving storm called a Clipper. This feature has been moving very quickly eastward across the northern states, starting in Washington State yesterday, and then will move into the northern plains this afternoon, and then into the Great Lakes tonight. There'll be a few rain and mountain snow showers through northern Idaho into Montana this morning, and then will continue eastward with showers forming into northern Minnesota, and then a steadier rain forming tonight in northern Wisconsin and northern Michigan, and a few places may even see some wet snowflakes late tonight. This storm will continue on a fast pace into the northeast tomorrow with additional rain and higher elevation snow. A larger storm will be approaching the northwest today. There'll be some rain out ahead of that from northern California into southern Oregon, with showers continuing to the north this afternoon into northern Oregon and Washington. This continues eastward late today and tonight with a steadier rain and heavier rain forming along the coast from northern California to Washington, and we'll have damaging winds and coastal flooding as well. Meanwhile, we have a system exiting the U.S. in the northeast this morning. There'll be a few lingering clouds and showers through northern New York into New England. Otherwise, it'll be drying out. And the rest of the nation is going to be fairly quiet as high pressure dominates a large part of the U.S. from the southwest into the Great Lakes, mid-Atlantic, and southeast. Most places will have abundant sunshine. That's the weather across America. Santa Fe, New Mexico will have plenty of sunshine today and a nice afternoon with a high of 72. Syracuse, New York will have a shower in spots early, otherwise partly sunny skies and a high of 55. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The FBI reports 2 men have been charged with plotting terror attacks in Michigan. As Lisa Dwyer reports, Amir Makled, the attorney for one of the 2 suspects in the case, told Live Now from Fox News that his client has been cooperative with investigators and disputes terrorism allegations.
I do know for certainty that there was no mass casualty event or plot or terrorism act that was planned within the city of Dearborn or state of Michigan by anybody involved in this investigation. Our client has been fully cooperative with law enforcement. They've had opportunity to speak with investigators in this case. My client's been cooperative in giving up electronic data information and forensic details from electronic devices.
2 men have now been charged in federal court with terrorism-related crimes after weeks of surveillance by the FBI. According to a 72-page criminal complaint, Mohammed Ali and Majid Mahmoud had scouted LGBTQ+ bars in the Detroit suburb of Ferndale, and that they and other co-conspirators were inspired by Islamic State extremism. The FBI announced the arrest last week while agents searched a home in Dearborn and a storage unit in in Inkster. The searches turned up tactical vests, backpacks, AR-15 style rifles, ammunition, loaded handguns, and GoPro cameras. The FBI says the men repeatedly referred to pumpkins in their conversations, in an apparent reference to a Halloween attack. Ali and Mahmoud will remain in custody at least until a November 10th detention hearing. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A federal judge issued a temporary court order halting the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard to Portland at least until Friday. The federal government argued the deployment of the National Guard is necessary due to ongoing protests outside the ICE facility in South Portland. The administration has said the activity continues a rebellion, citing vandalism to the building and alleged threats to federal officers. The ruling comes as the Trump administration faces challenges from judges over its power to send National Guard troops into Democrat-led cities, including Chicago and L.A. In sports, from the NFL, Monday Night Football, it was the Arizona Cardinals over the Dallas Cowboys, 27-17. Palantir, the new stock darling, and Ford reports sales when America in the Morning continues after these messages. The Business Report is sponsored by Gusto. Gusto is a simple online payroll and benefits tool built for small business. Learn more at gusto.com/radio. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a mixed start to November trading. After putting a winning October in the books for stocks, the Dow was down yesterday, 226 points, but the Nasdaq gained 100. Amazon shares hit a record high yesterday on a deal with OpenAI. Palantir hit a record high heading into the release of its quarterly results after the closing bell yesterday. Palantir is a software company. It's got lots of government contracts. It knocked it out of the park. Shares were higher after hours last night, and that stock popped after soaring up 170% already for the year so far.
Palantir is the best software company, and it's not even close. They are doing things that other companies have not been able to figure out how to do. They are helping companies with disparate data in a lot of different places bring that data together so those companies can build AI applications.
D.A. Davidson's Gil Luria on CNBC. NVIDIA shares popped on U.S. approval of AI chip sales to the United Arab Emirates. It's a Microsoft deal. One economist has a word of caution for investors.
It all feels good when you look at these stock prices, but there's a lot underneath it that makes me just very anxious. The job market is flat on its back, right? You can argue we have a jobs recession already. If we're creating any jobs, we're not creating very many of them. And that's even before AI really kicks into gear and causes job loss. And that feels like it's just starting to happen to some degree. And I wouldn't be nearly as worried about it if we were creating 100,000 jobs a month or 125,000 jobs a month, but we're not.
That's Moody's economist Mark Zandi on CNBC. Ford reported its vehicle sales for October.
Overall, Ford sales up 1.6%. Internal combustion engine vehicles, those sales were up 3.4% compared with October of last year. Here's the big fall off. EV sales down 24.8%. That is not a surprise. That will not move markets. There will be nobody who says, oh my goodness, sales were down 24%. That was expected. Hybrid sales down 4%. Bottom line is this, guys, none of the sales numbers that we're going to hear from any of the automakers who are reporting for the month of October, none of them are going to be good. You strip away a $7,500 incentive, you are going to see a drop in demand. Again, Ford overall up 1.6% for the month of October.
CNBC's Phil LeBeau. Kimberly-Clark buying Tylenol maker Kenvue for about $40 billion. On today's watch list, we get another load of earnings from Pfizer, Uber, Amgen, AMD, and insurer AIG.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, Hegseth visits the DMZ after these messages. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in South Korea for military talks has visited the demilitarized zone separating the two Koreas. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The U.S. Defense Secretary and South Korea's Defense Minister received a briefing from military officials at Observation Post Welet, a site near the military demarcation line that past American presidents, including Donald Trump during his first term in 2019, had visited to peer across the border into North Korea and meet with American soldiers. They also visited the Panmunjom border village, where an armistice was signed to pause the 1950-53 Korean War. Hegseth did not mention North Korea, which has ignored Washington and Seoul's calls for dialogue in recent years, while accelerating the expansion of its nuclear weapons and missile program. Hegseth is visiting U.S. ally South Korea for security talks. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A jury has been selected in Washington, D.C. in the trial of a former Justice Department employee accused of throwing a foot-long sub sandwich at a federal officer. Sean Dunn was seen tossing the sandwich at a Customs and Border Protection agent during a protest. He was chased down by officers and arrested. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office failed to persuade a grand jury to indict Dunn on felony charges, so Dunn was charged with misdemeanor assault and pleaded not guilty. His lawyers have called the case selective and vindictive prosecution. Attorney General Pam Bondi said Dunn had been fired from the Justice Department, where he had worked as a paralegal. America in the Morning for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Uncertainty settling in for federal workers. I'm Clayton Neville.
Gavin Newsom's gamble to add more Democrats to the U.S. House of Representatives may just pay off. I'm Joan Jones.
Ukraine's received more American-made Patriot air defense systems to counter Russia's attacks. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Study shows that smarter AIs are more selfish. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Two of the hosts of The View butt heads about how to joke about Donald Trump. I'm Kevin Carr.
Lawsuits against new student loan rules, and a Hollywood lawsuit comes to a surprising end. Back after these messages. The nation's forecast on America in the Morning. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
We have a system exiting the U.S. in the northeast this morning. This will produce a few lingering clouds and showers in northern New York into New England, though that should end fairly quickly and sunshine will return. Meanwhile, we have a larger storm approaching the northwest today. There'll be some rain out ahead of it through northern California into southern Oregon, with showers continuing to the north this afternoon in northern Oregon and Washington. And as the system moves eastward late today and tonight, there'll be a steadier and heavier rain forming along the coast from northern California to Washington, along with damaging winds and coastal flooding. We also have a Clipper-type storm moving eastward at a fast pace through the northern plains into the Great Lakes today into tonight. This system started in the northwest yesterday. There'll be a few rain and mountain snow showers through northern Idaho into Montana this morning, and then that will continue eastward with some showers through northern Minnesota, and then a steadier rain tonight into northern Wisconsin and northern Michigan, and a few places may see some wet snow late tonight. This system will keep a good pace tomorrow, continuing into the northeast with additional rain and higher elevation snow. The nation otherwise is going to be quiet, with high pressure dominating a large part of the U.S. from the southwest to the Great Plains into the middle Atlantic and southeast. Most areas will have abundant sunshine. It is going to be quite warm in the central plains states into the southern plains, with highs in the 60s and 70s in South Dakota and warming to the 70s and 80s into Oklahoma and Texas. And this is about 5 to 15 degrees above the historical average. 50s, 60s, and 70s in the Middle Atlantic and Northeast will be closer to average for early November. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is warning that travel impacts are likely to get more severe as the government shutdown continues into a second month. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that the Trump administration will delay and cancel any kind of flight across the national airspace to make sure that people are safe. He believes that if the government doesn't open in the next week or two, the U.S. will look back as these were the good days, not the bad ones.
At the end of this week, air traffic controllers are going to get a pay stub email that's going to tell them how much they're going to be paid next week, and that's going to be zero. And the clear point from the controllers that I've spoke with said, listen, a lot of them can deal with missing one paycheck, but a lot can't. But many of them can. None of them can miss two paychecks.
He spoke about the shutdown impacts with CNBC.
And they're all going to have to look at taking second jobs or quitting and getting into another line of work. And the consequence of that is very real for our air system. We are 2,000 to 3,000 air traffic controllers short. I'm trying to put more air traffic controllers into the system. And what this is doing is making it more challenging and actually taking controllers out of the system. So I think this has long-term impacts beyond when Democrats decide when, their little temper tantrum is over and they decide to open up the government.
To this point, many of the delays since the shutdown started have been weather-related, although staffing shortages have triggered isolated delays at some airports. This as TSA agents and air traffic controllers navigate another week with uncertainty about when they'll be paid next. I'm Clayton Neville.
Delays continue to run rampant at the nation's airports. The flight tracking website FlightAware said that more than 4,300 flights were delayed in the U.S. Monday, including nearly 1 out of every 2 flights at Newark Liberty Airport and more than 25% of all flights at LaGuardia and JFK Airport in New York City. A shortage of air traffic controllers on Sunday at Newark Airport led to multiple ground stops and over 100 canceled flights. Staffing shortages also led to ground stops Sunday at airports in Atlanta, Nashville, Dallas, and Austin, Texas. America in the Morning continues. It's Election Day today, and when voters go to the polls in New York City, New Jersey, Virginia, and California, one topic on their minds will include the situation surrounding the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, also known as food stamps. The White House announced that tens of millions of Americans across the nation will not get their full Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits this month after a court ordered funding to be distributed, and it's still not clear when those partial benefits will get sent out. Long lines on foot and in cars were seen in a number of states, including Texas and Rhode Island, at food banks resembling those that formed during the pandemic. Another casualty of the government shutdown, Head Start, depended on by thousands of working parents. Lisa Dwyer reports that some Head Start preschools have been forced to close their doors over a lack of funding.
The government shutdown is triggering a wave of closures of Head Start centers, leaving many working parents scrambling for childcare and shutting some of the nation's neediest children out of preschool. Dozens of centers are missing out on federal grant payments that were due to arrive November 1st. Some have closed indefinitely, while others are staying afloat with emergency funding from local governments and school districts. The closures mean Head Start children who come from low-income households or are homeless or are in foster care are missing out on preschool. They are also missing out on the 2 meals a day that they receive at school, plus therapy sessions deemed vital to their development. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
When voters in California go to the polls today, they won't be choosing a candidate, but some will be pulling the levers under the watchful eyes of Department of Justice monitors. Joan Jones reports on a ballot measure that could impact the balance of power in the House of Representatives.
That's because of the high-stakes redistricting effort called Proposition 50 that's on the ballot. It would essentially override a nonpartisan redistricting commission and approve a new congressional map, one that's intended to send 5 more California Democrats to Washington. At a rally recently, Governor Gavin Newsom called it a countermeasure to red states who are also redistricting.
Thank you for what you'll do over the next 72 hours to bring home this historic victory for democracy, for our republic, and send a message to Donald Trump. Hell no, we are done. We are done with being treated like this.
But a grassroots effort is underway to vote down Prop 50. This California pastor says 45 of the state's 54 seats are already held by Democrats, and California has the highest homelessness, poverty, addiction, and property taxes.
We're also number one in budget deficit. We are number one in retail theft and illiteracy. So do I vote to add more Democratic seats for no other reason other than a response to what's happening in some other state? Nah. Look at what 80% Democratic representation has gotten us.
The latest polling from the Public Policy Institute shows 56% of voters would vote yes on this measure. I'm Joan Jones.
When we return on America in the Morning, Patriot defense systems on their way to Ukraine and a major corporate takeover. Those stories and more after these messages. Ukraine will soon be receiving more Patriot air defense systems to counter Russian attacks. Details from correspondent Charles de Ledesma.
Ukraine's received more American-made Patriot air defense systems to counter Russia's attacks. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, these systems are crucial against Russian missiles. On Sunday night, Russian drones killed a man and injured 5 family members in Ukraine's southeastern Sumy region. Russia's ongoing assault has targeted civilians and energy supplies, causing widespread disruption. Zelensky has thanked Germany for its support as NATO coordinates weapons deliveries to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russia launched 12 missiles and 138 drones overnight. The attacks also hit the central Dnipro and southern Mykolaiv regions, causing further damage. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
In the Middle East, the bodies of 3 Israeli Defense Forces soldiers, including an Israeli American, has been returned by Hamas to Israel, leaving 8 others still believed to be inside Gaza. This as Israel's been rocked by scandal as a top military lawyer resigned after she leaked videos of alleged abuse by Israeli soldiers. Correspondent Joe Fetterman reports.
Israel is in an uproar over the arrest of the top legal official from Israel's military. Yifat Tomer Yerushalmi was forced to resign over the weekend after acknowledging that she had authorized the leak of a video showing Israeli soldiers appearing to sexually abuse a Palestinian inmate. Now, this case has exposed deep divisions in Israeli society. Tomer Yerushalmi said that she authorized this leak because she wanted the public to understand just how serious this case was. She didn't want people to think that the army is just arbitrarily punishing its soldiers. However, Israel's right-wing government has come down hard on her. Israel's defense minister accused her of committing what he says a blood libel against the soldiers. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says this is the greatest PR disaster in Israel's history. The criticism continued even after her resignation over the weekend. And on Sunday, there was a brief scare over her safety. Tomer Yerushalmi disappeared for several hours, and there were concerns that she might have actually harmed herself after her car was found empty with the engine still running and a note left behind with her family. Eventually, she was found after a frantic search by Israeli police and military units. On Monday, she appeared with her former top prosecutor in court. Their detention was extended for another 2 days.
2 lawsuits were filed Monday against the Trump administration after the Education Department published a student debt forgiveness rule that critics say violates free speech and seeks to punish the president's political opponents. More than a dozen state attorneys general sued the Trump administration over its new rule limiting eligibility for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program to exclude certain organizations, including supporting terrorism and aiding and abetting illegal immigration. The AGs claim that the Education Department lacks the legal authority to carve out exceptions based on ideology. In a separate lawsuit filed in Massachusetts, a coalition of more than a dozen nonprofits, cities, and unions is also suing the Education Department on similar grounds, claiming the agency is exceeding its authority with the new PSLF rule. A major corporate takeover has been announced. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports.
A nearly $50 billion cash and stock deal results in a massive consumer health goods company. Kimberly-Clark is buying Kenvue, the maker of Tylenol, for $48.7 billion. The deal means several household brands will be under the same roof. Listerine mouthwash and Band-Aid made by Kenvue will be side by side with Huggies and Kleenex tissues made by Kimberly-Clark. The combined company will generate about $32 billion in annual income. The deal is expected to close in the second half of next year. It still needs approval from shareholders of both companies. I'm Mike Hempen.
More people have fallen ill and 2 more have died in an ongoing listeria outbreak linked to prepared pasta meals. Fox Business is reporting that 27 people across 18 states have been infected with listeriosis, with 6 people dying. The reported deaths occurred in Hawaii, Illinois, Michigan, Oregon, Texas, and Utah. One pregnancy-associated illness resulted in a fetal loss. Recalls due to the outbreak cover at least 9 prepared pasta dishes sold in stores including Trader Joe's, Albertsons, Kroger, and Giant Eagle supermarkets for products including pasta salads, grilled chicken fettuccine alfredo, and shrimp scampi. An interesting study at Carnegie Mellon finds that AI testing has shown that the smarter AI gets, the more selfish it becomes. Chuck Palm has that in today's Tech Report.
A Carnegie Mellon study just dropped a report that states AI just isn't smarter, it can be downright selfish. Researchers at the Human-Computer Interaction Institute tested big brain models from OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic in the classic economic showdown of the public's goods game. This test, designed in the 70s to prove human behavior would act in self-interest over the group, was given to naive AIs that cooperated 96% of the time. But when you added reasoning prompts, step-by-step logic, and self-reflection, the cooperation plummeted to less than 20%. Once the AIs were aware of the test, it further plummeted by 58%, realizing that cooperation was not the key to success. Lead author of the study, Yuxan Lee, summed it up by saying the reasoning model's selfish behavior became contagious. They summarized that smarter AI shows less cooperative decision-making abilities. For more tech news, follow me on X at Chuck Palm.
Tuesday Sports is in. Here's America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
The college basketball season began on Monday with 20 of the preseason top 25 in action and an upset right off the bat. Number 3 and defending national champion Florida lost to number 13 Arizona 93-87 in Las Vegas. Freshman Koa Pete had 30 points for the Wildcats. The other game in Vegas was close too. 8th-ranked BYU squeaked past Villanova 71-66. The other 17 ranked teams won by an average of over 30 points. NBA, the Lakers doused the Blazers 123-115 for their 4th straight win. Rockets also on a 4-game run after a 110-102 victory over the Mavericks. Pistons beat the Grizzlies. Cade Cunningham with 19 of his game-high 33 in the 4th quarter. Timberwolves cut down the Nets. Brooklyn now 0-7. Wins for the Knicks, Nuggets, Bucks, Heat, and Jazz. NFL Week 9 wrapped up Monday night. The Cardinals snapped a 5-game losing streak with a 27-17 win over the Cowboys. Backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett in for the injured Kyler Murray, passed for 2 touchdowns and ran for a 3rd.
Coming into the game, I think we felt supremely confident that we had a chance to win this game. And I think everybody believed in each other, believed in the plans.
Week 10 begins Thursday in Denver with the Raiders and the Broncos. Today is also the NFL trade deadline. Baseball's busy offseason is underway. The Dodgers had their victory parade in Los Angeles on Monday, and the finalists for the major awards were announced. Defending MVPs Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, both in line to repeat. We'll find out next week. The free agency lamp is lit. Over 140 players on the market, including Alex Bregman, Cody Bellinger, and Edwin Diaz, each of whom opted out on Monday. And Walt Weiss was named the Braves' new manager. That leaves the Padres and the Rockies still looking. That's Tuesday Sports.
When we return on America in the Morning, broadcasters lament over making jokes about the president. After these messages. America in the Morning continues. Actress Diane Ladd has passed away. Ladd received Academy Award nominations for her roles in the 1974 hit Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Wild at Heart in 1990, and Rambling Rose in 1991, and appeared in blockbusters including Chinatown, Ghosts of Mississippi, and 28 Days. Ladd, who was the mother of actress Laura Dern, was 89. It's becoming evident that some in the world of broadcasting are clearly worried about making jokes about President Trump. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has the latest example.
A minor spat occurred between the co-hosts of The View regarding a statement made about Donald Trump. During Monday's show, the panel discussed President Trump's interview on 60 Minutes. Sonny Hosen complained about how the president said he didn't know billionaire cryptocurrency exchange founder Changpeng Zhao, who he pardoned in October. Co-host Whoopi Goldberg punctuated the comment with a joke.
The Trump family has made about $1.8 billion profited off of this government. And he said that Joe Biden didn't know who he was pardoning using an auto pen. How come he don't know who this guy is?
Because he used an auto pen.
Later, Hosen passed a note to Goldberg asking her to point out that there's no evidence that Trump used an auto pen. Goldberg was not happy about this and tore up the note.
We don't know if Trump used an auto pen to part. It was a joke.
Yes. We don't know if Trump used an auto pen.
Oh, come on.
Goldberg, who started her career in the 1970s as a stand-up comedian, often makes tongue-in-cheek comments on the show, though Trump has made news going after media outlets for comments he did not like. Hosen appeared to be sensitive about statements that were not accurate, even if the speaker is joking. Like many comedians today, Goldberg appeared fed up with people not being able to take a joke.
No one understands nuance. You know when you hear a joke, when somebody's fooling around, when they're not saying something specific, especially on this show.
I'm Kevin Carr.
Justin Baldoni suffered a massive blow in his legal war with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. The It Ends With Us director's $400 million defamation countersuit against the couple came to a surprising end after Baldoni declined to file an amended complaint. The judge in the case issued an order on October 17th saying he was considering entering a final judgment to end the case, and the parties had until October 24th to show cause as to why final judgment should not be entered, but only Lively responded to the judge's order. However, the plaintiffs have the right to appeal, and Lively's request for attorney's fees is still ongoing. That's our show for today, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. America in the Morning is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.